Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the recap show here on Dojo Live. It is Monday, July 11th. My name is Kim Lantis, and it's my pleasure to tell you my opinions over last week's show. And here to join me with her opinions is America Guerrero. How are you, America?
Hey, fine. Excited to share my thoughts.
Your thoughts, yes. And you're back in Mexico City now.
Yes,
Yeah.
the weather is
Oh.
perfect. Everything it's like home. It's like home.
I'm glad. I wish I could say the weather was perfect, but here in Hermosillo, Sonora, we are like burning. The other night it was 8 o'clock p.m. and it was still 99 degrees, folks. And that's the
Mm.
only time that I could go ahead and walk my dog. But
Oh
cool.
wow.
So let's talk about last week's show. We had two really great shows last week. First up, that was with Gagan Gulati. He's the CPO, Chief Product Officer at Behavix, and he talked about how the latest AI and machine learning technologies are allowing customers to take a quantum leap in protecting their organizations. And the second show was with Daniel Daura, founder and CTO of Pebblebee. And that focus was resilience and the path to achieving the dream. So when the unexpected happens, how do you find the courage, strength, and drive to persevere? So let's go ahead and talk about Gagan and Behavix first. Now, I know you did not get to accompany me as co-host for that show, but did you get a chance to watch it, or am I on my own
Yes.
again?
No, yes, I did.
Perfect.
Yes, I
Woo!
was ready. I had my notes right here. So yes, because I'm not an expert with compliance and security systems. So I was like, I need to make sure that what I'm going to say it's like real. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really interesting how he has like more than 60. He worked at Microsoft for 16 years, and then he moved to
Mhm.
this company that is Behaviox, which is in a startup. Behaviox, because what this company does is that they help enterprises identify their illegal, moral, and malicious behaviors. And you might be thinking from external threats from organizations, but what he meant, it was internal. So it was like,
Mhm.
what? And
I know
then
it was new to me too, which
uh-huh,
I mean, when you talked about it, I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. But it had
uh-huh,
never really dawned on me either of bad players from within.
exactly. And how there are this data, and you want to use this data to make insights. But the problem, what he shared, is that we have the data, but we don't have the technology to identify those insights. So it was really interesting in
Until
conversation
now.
until now. Exactly, until now.
Yeah, so Behavix is really cool. They use their AI and their machine learning capabilities to kind of go through uh, exchanges with employees, right? And particularly in those sectors where compliance is a really big deal, like finance, to make sure that there's no insider trading or different elements kind of going on. And so they're able to utilize that machine learning to identify different types of conversations that might be happening through messaging or email or other methods, to see if there's something that requires a further investigation. And I think he talked about, I don't remember the exact percentage, but really increasing what is a true positive, right, versus the false positives. And it's a real kind of game changer in that space. I thought a really another interesting use for Behavix was to help with the monitoring of safety, just this creating a safe space for all employees, and is also a way not just to make sure that we're compliant, but to prevent harassment in the workplace, and also provide potential victims with sort of that, for lack of a better word, proof that might be required sometimes, when traditionally, if a flag is raised and someone goes to human resources or similar, and they're like, hey, this is happening, there's not much to kind of go off. But now with Behavix, we can help keep places safer, right, which I think is good for everyone. Awesome. And not to mention also, like, he just his energy and just his own story, like you said, of moving out of a very large space into a startup space, and just the
Hmm.
energy and ideas that he takes with him. Definitely a really cool show worth checking out. And the second show of the week was Daniel Dwara, CTO of Pebble Bee and talking really about resilience and just unexpected and where he found courage and strength and drive to persevere. This particular show was one of those shows that very much came from the heart and less from the head, which I think makes for great shows. What was your
Mhm.
take, America?
Well, that one of the keys to be resilient is that you need to have a really good network. And it's something that it was so encouraging when he shared his story with his partner and how now he has this amazing company. And the tracking devices, those are really tiny and light and sustainable. It's really cool the thing that they are doing. He has this amazing experience of 20 years, I think, of the tracking industry space. And it's amazing how they're helping people tracking the things that matter the most. Pets, it could include highly values. And he shared this story, why pets, why helping
Yeah.
people track their pets. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the story was really fun coming from his own experience with his co-founder, Nick, and how they both wound up. They had worked many years together, I think, with Boeing, and they ended up both coming into the office like extremely late one day. And they're like, it's already late. Let's just go to lunch and call it a late night. We'll just check out at 8 or something, right? And so they went to lunch and they were sharing their stories about why I was late. Oh, I couldn't find my keys. Oh, I don't remember the other one. And so they're like, hey, why don't we do something about this? It was the moment. And they worked in full disclosure with their company for a couple years before they were able to kind of launch Pebble Bee. And, things were going great. He has his own tragic story, which is the element here of the resistance and unexpected. And that was the loss of his partner, Nick, and just the way they had to flip that kind of as a company and create that network, be vulnerable, be transparent with one another. And I think his advice also was just to take things one step at a time, right? Look, if you go too far in the future, it can get overwhelming. So definitely
Exactly.
a great fun show, really great fun product, very customer focused.
Exactly.
And awesome about these trackers too is, which I really appreciate, they're available not only on iOS but Android as well. And I'm an Android user, so like it's nice to see when Android gets to catch up with iOS, right? So that was really really great. Cool. All right. So that was it. We had 2 shows last week. We also have 2 shows this week. What do we have coming up, America?
Yeah, so tomorrow we're going to have a show. We don't have the topic yet. It's going to
Not yet.
be with, not yet, Marcus at 4BR Games. And on
Yes.
Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific. And on Wednesday, we're going to have another interview. The topic is building trust with e-commerce consumers. How can online retails create trust and increase brand loyalty? This conversation is going to be with Ken Muir. He is the CEO at Buku Ships, 12
Yeah.
p.m. Pacific. Yeah.
Perfect. And we will not be having a show on Thursday because Thursday is our monthly all hands. And so, wow, it's really important to be communicating across the company, and we cannot and will not miss it. All
Exactly.
right. Awesome. Well, we'll catch you tomorrow at 12 o'clock Pacific, everyone. Good as always to talk with you, America. And until then, stay safe.